Everyone, welcome to PW OnlyIAS. Hope you're all doing great today. My name is Nikhil Ram and I'm here with the discussion of Public Administration question paper, mains question paper for the year 2025. So without any further delay, let me get right into it. Paper 1. If you look at the overall scheme of things here, maximum number of questions, at least for the last few years, if you see, it's like 3 per section. Very rarely you have a 4 here. That is from 23. If you go a little more backwards, you have 5 questions coming from the introduction chapter. And maybe this anomaly here were techniques of administrative improvement, not a single question was asked. Now the thing with public administration syllabus, I have already told you, when you look at the syllabus and when you look at the number of books that you have to refer, it looks like it's a very long, very big subject with too many topics, too many books, too many thinkers, too many theories. But like I've always told you, if you go by the syllabus, that is the issue. Instead, what you should be doing is you should go by the question paper. And when you go by the question paper, you go by the topic. So today I will break it down to you and I will tell you literally from how many chapters the maximum questions are coming. Okay, so let us not delay it further. Let us take it up one by one. Imperfect market and political factors limit the application of public choice approach. Explain. So an explain based question means whatever sentence is given to you, you just need to explain it. That is imperfect market and political factors. They reduce the application of public choice approach. So how do you answer that? So in that regard, again, first thing what you have to mention is what do you mean by public choice approach and how it is linked to NPM, New Public Management. Then what do you mean by imperfect market? An imperfect market simply means consumers are not exactly rational. And competition is less. Political factors means like corruption, nepotism, favoritism. All these factors are there. Corruption, nepotism, favoritism. Now, when all these are there, can public choice approach work properly or not? Obviously, it cannot work properly. Because in such a case, what will happen is there is bound to be what? There is bound to be crony capitalism. Where the politicians and a few private players will collaborate together, where they will have the monopoly of actually supplying the goods and services. A similar situation would have occurred in India back in 1951 if government wouldn't have taken the initiative of what? Setting up the planning commission and then going for 5-year plans. This is the reality. Back then we were having around 86% of the population was illiterate. On top of it, we did not have that many private players to take over the market. So in such a scenario, we went for what? We went for 5-year planning, where the state dominated. Public choice approach, basic theory, what does it say? It's basically about let the state take a back seat, let other players come forward. That is the idea. You explain the theory, you're given an example, answer is over. 10 marks it is. You need not waste too much time. So I will make another block here. The public choice approach coming under NPM, we have one question being asked. Then what about the second one? The fine art of decision making is not making decisions that others can make. Comment. What do you mean by that? The fine art of decision making is to make decisions that others cannot make. Comment question. Supporting it, opposing it, you will give an answer. The supporting it, what will you say? Yes, One aspect of decision making is to take what? Unique decision making. That means unprogrammed decision making. Examples: demonetization, Article 370 abrogation. These are classic examples of taking those decisions which were not taken before. Earlier, nobody had taken it. But is it always necessary that you have to take rare decisions 24/7? No. 90% or more than 90% of the work in any bureaucracy or administration is what? Routine. And where routine is involved, you go for what? You go for programmed decision making. Certain adverse events or certain unique situations, if it keeps on happening repeatedly, eventually we will be capable of making what? Making the unprogrammed decisions as programmed decisions. Now, state of Kerala, back-to-back floods. So now next time a flood is there, the government will be better equipped in dealing with it. Same goes with the state of Tamil Nadu. Got the point here? Back-to-back, when you have a disaster, you will learn to plan for it. And the moment planning comes, it becomes programmed. Got the point? So that way, even unprogrammed decision making can become what? Programmed decision making. Similarly, this most of the students will write. But the real catch will be to actually throw in a point of what? Comparative public administration here. Why? So France is going to implement UPI. How did France take this decision? You cannot call it programmed because this is not something France did earlier. You cannot even call it unprogrammed also because it's not an emergency situation that is there. Correct? This is something which they understood that, okay, India has done a good job with it. Why can't we adopt it? So decision making also involves to learn from others' decisions and implement it. Theory you have given, examples you have given, answer is complete. You have added a wild horse like CPA. Your answer is looking unique. You are not just confining yourself to the thinker that can be deduced or deducted from that particular question. You have gone 1 mile extra. Simon. Has the media nixed its role in holding the governments accountable and ensuring transparency? Argue. Again, this is what I would call not really expected, because this is a question probably we can expect in GS paper 2 under polity and governance. But here it has come. Has media nixed its role, killed itself in holding the governments accountable and ensuring transparency? Argue. So what is media's role? Basically to ask questions and ensure transparency. They are the fourth pillar of democracy. How do they ensure it? Obviously asking questions, and largely through investigative journalism. But has it nixed its role? That is the question here. To an extent, yes, they have nixed it. Yes. How? Political agenda. They actually carry out today the political agenda of various parties. They are no more the very proactive, very responsible media. Why? Through the political agenda, they are largely exhibiting theory X, behavior, or the immaturity theory. Extreme focus on TRP. Which is almost like your existential need. If TRP is there, advertisers are there. That means media is no more thinking about self-actualization or growth needs. Media is only keeping itself confined to what? Basic needs. So look at the beauty here. It is actually a very general studies type question, but I have squeezed in paper 1 theory. That is the real challenge here. You should know what thinker you have to throw in there to explain the behavior. On the other side, no, they have not nixed its role. Why? Media continues to be that platform through which public opinion reaches the authorities. Be it the legislature, be it the executive, be it the judiciary. They get to know about the news through the, or whatever is happening in the country. The public opinion they get to know through the media. The media is an important channel of communication. Comma, feedback as envisioned by systems theory. Got the picture here? This is how it is. Complementing the media's efforts, today we have what? Social media also. So in a way, earlier it used to be media used to be the mainstream source of news. Today what it has happened is what appears in the social media, that gets reported in the media later. So that way, whatever political, irrespective of what political agenda you have, even if you focus on your TRP, it is of no use. Because ultimately, people will find the truth, one or the other way. That is the reality. Getting the point here? D. Is Herbert Simon justified in criticizing some principles of administration as Proverbs analyzed? This is something on which I have given detailed notes in the class. Why the classical principles of administration are called Proverbs by Herbert Simon. What is the reason for it? Because on one side, if you are talking about reducing the hierarchy, on another side, you have span of control. Because you need to reduce the number of levels for that communication to become better. But the point here is when you reduce the hierarchy, span of control of an organization starts widening up. This is just one example. So these are just proverbs which does not have any validity. This is what Herbert Simon told. Build on that, give examples, your answer is over. I'm not discussing it in detail simply because it's a direct content is from my class notes. $1 million point here is that is actually the second question that has come from Simon. And interestingly enough, Simon's administrative behavior was a revolutionary response to the limitations of classical theory, but it was not free from its own paradoxes. Critically examined. This is from our Srijan's test series. So in that again for 20 marks we had asked this question, which literally covers this subtopic of calling classical theory as nothing but proverbs. Administrative law has evolved from the need to create a system of public administration under law. Elucidate, or rather explain. Again, which has come again in our test series. Administrative law seeks to balance discretionary authority with procedural fairness. The expansion of administrative law signals the state shift from sovereign authority to service provider and regulator. Critically examine its impact. Create a system of public administration under law. That means public administration has to be regulated by law. You need administration itself to be under a law. That is why you have administrative law. Elucidate. Now that is very, very true. Administrative law. To manage administrators and administration overall. Now how are we doing it? So obviously you are having civil service conduct rules, central civil service conduct rules, all India service conduct rules are there to regulate the conduct of officers. When it comes to the conduct of office work today, most places we are having e-office, which clearly tells how much time a file is lying with an office or with a desk or with an officer. We get to know through e-office. Number 3, in addition to transfers plus suspension, we also have what? Rule 56J to actually regulate the conduct of administrative officers. So, goes without saying, administrative law is what ultimately? It is from the need to create a system of public administration under law. Because this evolution itself clearly shows that this has constantly been evolving. That is why we have a separate administrative law, and for that again you also have what? You have separate tribunals too. SAT and CAT. Clear, people? New public management has actually been a transitory state in evolution from traditional public administration to what is here called new public governance examine. Again, part of our test series again. What this question is basically trying to tell is, NPM is nothing but a transitionary state between traditional public administration and new public governance. It is transitionary. After that, it doesn't have any value. To an extent, it is true. Traditional public administration basically gave. So yes, let us keep first. It's again a examine question, means you will examine this statement. To what extent it is true or false. So traditional public administration is all about what? Excessive control of government. Everything government will do. Correct? Classical structure, classical theory, the rules, the order, the hierarchy, all of that. There is no question of private player, etc. What is NPM then? NPM talks about minimal government and maximum giving everything towards private players. That is what this is about. What is new public governance? New public governance basically talks about you will have private players, you will have government. Who will dominate whom will depend upon what? Will depend highly upon the context. This is what it is. So, yes, in a way it was transitionary because we are not following a full NPM. NPM's many of its fundamental features have been borrowed by new public governance, which talks about, more multi-stakeholder model or participative management, all of that. But at the same time, even today, some cases are there where we simply follow NPM practices. Like the biometric attendance system now, being put in all the central government offices to ensure that all the central government employees are coming on time, directly borrowed from NPM. So we still have NPM. One or the other way, we still are following NPM in many places. Wherever NPM principles can be incorporated, we are using it, which clearly tells us what the NPM principles still exist in NPG. NPM principles are not transitionary, but are very much alive in NPG era. So automatically, what is going to happen? You will find NPM everywhere. Wherever it is required, wherever you need efficiency, economy, effectiveness, because there is no government department where you won't be needing the 3 E's. The 3 E's are pretty much relevant in every government department, in anything that the government do. Correct, right? Because either it should be efficient, or it should be economic, or it should be effective. Effectiveness, when we generally say it is about social welfare schemes. Efficiency and economy, when we largely say it is anything where government is directly doing a business, or we are purchasing something. PSUs. So it is very much alive. It is not transitionary. Clear? So automatically, that is the second question on NPM. Clear, people? Moving on. Mary Parker Foley pioneered the evolution of socio-psychological approach to the study of organizations. Explain. Very, very, very direct question. Bridge scholar, constructive conflict, win-win situation, authority by situation, not authority by position. The entire socio-psychological aspect, supportive superior, all of that you can throw in there. Direct sitter question. Under the new public management framework, public-private partnership challenges the entropy of closed and open models of organization. Again, NPM. Challenges the entropy of closed and open models of organization. What do you mean by that? Entropy generally means a sort of instability. So NPM, through its PPP model, challenges the entropy in closed and open model. A closed model would simply mean what? Your traditional public administration, which is not at all linked to the environment, which actually believes in this universal principles. Open model, when you say, basically it means what? Environment. So how does it do through triple P? That is the question. How can it challenge? Public-private partnership is that venture program again, where government and a private player comes together to deliver goods and service. Classic recent example would be Adani Group being involved in what? The Dharavi slum redevelopment program. And is a classic case. So once that is happening as we are speaking about it. So that will actually reduce what? To an extent, the instability here. Why it will reduce the instability? Because you're constantly taking the feedback from the environment. And everybody is watching. Media, everyone. How is it doing for the closed system? The fact that government won't be able to provide all the goods and services is understood ever since liberalization, privatization, globalization came in. It is not necessary that government alone should be the sole provider of all the goods and services. Nor is it necessary that we should give completely everything to a private player. Both can collaborate and they can provide. Best example for that is what? The roads of our country, which during the TPA era, traditional public administration era, or before 1991, used to be what? Government monopoly. Today it is what? Roads. Today it is actually going for triple P. Whereby which again what is happening? The closed model also, even when you are talking about very less players, or even if you are talking about only government providing it, like NHAI, National Highway Authority of India, government cannot simply construct the road and get away with it. Feedback has to be listened to. That is the point. Write it down. Answer is over. So, if you take this one up here, that is again the third question on NPM. The first question is over, second question is over, and already we have only discussed topics which are easy to handle. And if you generally see 3 questions from one topic alone, one single topic alone, 2 from 2 very known, very famous thinkers, because any standard public administration faculty will explain these 2 thinkers properly. Goes without saying. Moving on to the next question. In conflict situations and organizations, leadership migrates to aggressive and relegates the emotionally matured to the background. Discuss. So basically what they are trying to tell here is, see, in a conflict situation, what can you do? Conflict situation, generally, most of the superiors will try to use domination. Why they will use? Because first of all, time is not there. Second of all, you don't have the resources with you to know, like the entire, what is the entire reason for the conflict. You may not have all the resources with you. That is money you don't have to sit and spend on it, nor will you have all the information. When all these 3 things are not available with you, it is easier to go for what? Domination. It is easier. And that is what people are also used to. So what happens then? Leadership migrates to aggressive. Aggressiveness, what it means is what? Domination itself. Relegates the emotionally mature to the background. Relegating means to set aside, not delegate. Relegating means you are like pushing it away. You are pushing the emotionally mature people to the background. Because always when people try to show that domination, people who are emotionally matured will step back. They won't like that aggressiveness. They won't like the domination. That is what the sentence is trying to say. So yes, it is a possibility, because it's a discussed question. It is a possibility that where domination is being exercised, emotionally mature people will step back. It is very much possible. So now you need examples also for this. So yes, domination. Some cases it is absolutely necessary, where discussion and debate will not fetch anything. Say for example, again, like I told you. Okay, demonetization we have already used as an example. Surgical strike. Surgical strike, whatever we did, be it inside Myanmar or be it inside Pakistan, Pretty sure we have not actually, that was a very aggressive stance from the side of India. Never expected and never seen before. We went ahead and did it. Is it true that the emotionally matured, sidelined, they felt, oh my God, what is this government doing? Why are they not discussing things with us? Maybe, yes, the opposition would have felt that. Possible. Correct. We are not talking about, oh, I'm talking political. Not at all. We are just saying opposition might have felt sidelined because opposition might have felt they also should have been consulted before going ahead with such an action or an operation. But the situation demanded it. That is where we start off also the next part of our answer, which is basically, is not necessary that always it is a bad thing to dominate. It is not really a bad thing. Sometimes in domination lies the solution. Why so? Because if you look at our parliament's proceedings, number of sittings have gone down. Number of bills being introduced has reduced. Number of bills being referred to committees, all these have been reduced. Clearly indicating what? The whole idea of a conflict resolution through amicable solution, that is not going to work. Getting the point? Domination is the only thing that will work over here. Not mutual understanding or mutually working together. That you will write. Purposefully, I am not using the terms and terminologies from Mary Parker Foley. Only reason is that we have already wrote an answer on her. So we should try to keep this answer as much as possible different from what we wrote for MPF. Mention the other half. Answer is over. The foundations of public administration, new public management and public governance rest on rule of law. Discuss. That is the fourth question on new public management. Again, rule of law, you know, equal protection of law, equality of the law. New public management means giving importance to private players. Open market. Everybody are free to compete. There is no favoritism. There is no nepotism. Write it down. Answer is over. So, fourth question again. I'm not going to discuss it in detail now because already the salient parts have already been discussed here. The principles of checks and balances count among the most fundamental constitutional values. Comment. Again, if you actually look at the subject nature of this question here, this is straight away from paper 2, the second chapter, the philosophical and constitutional framework of Indian Constitution. Checks and balances count among the most fundamental constitutional values. That is where this will suit. Checks and balances means basically legislative accountability, executive accountability, all of that. Budget questions, question hour, adjournment motion, censure motion, no confidence motion, all of that will come over here. And they are the most fundamental constitutional value. Absolutely they are. What doubt is there in it? Who has a doubt? They are fundamental. But what is the problem again? Sittings are low. Criminal MPs have gone up. Lok Sabha sitting. So if anybody remembers those graphs what I have made in class, if you remember that at least 1 minute. If you remember those graphs, the number of Lok Sabha sittings have gone down. Number of Rajya Sabha sittings have gone down. Number of bills being discussed have gone down. Number of bills referred to committees have gone down. And on the other hand, on the contrary, the number of criminal MPs have gone up. This is the overall performance of our parliament today. Lok Sabha gone down, Rajya Sabha gone down, bills, committees, excuse me, even CAG reports have come down. All this, if you put it over there, your answer is complete. That means we have various checks and balances to ensure it is the fundamental constitutional value. You can give the first half. Various checks and balances, how are we doing it? But on the other side, what will you say? If they are actually performing like this, then those checks and balances are only for what? Namesake. They are not doing any job then. Your answer is over. Clear, people? Delegated legislation should be clear and should confine to the limits determined by the legislature. In light of the statement, explain how misuse of administrative discretion can be checked. This is again something very similar to that administrative law question that has come. So delegated legislation, first of all, when is that used? Delegated legislation, again, a question which was asked in our Srijan test series. Delegated legislation is generally used, you know why? One, no time. Whichever bill was introduced in the parliament, they were not adequately discussed or not even referred to committees. It was quickly passed. Now, how to implement the law? Law you made, a broad structure you made, but the execution part you left it to the administration. You are telling them, you people only frame it. That is delegated legislation. But when you do that, what is the problem here? Administrators will get what? Administrators will get discretion. Now the discretion, the question is, to what extent or what is the limit of it? Because if you don't set a limit, then executive exigencies will be there. Executive going above their mandate and doing things which they are not supposed to do. Now what will you do? This is the point here. So how to control it? Once again, the same thing. Executive is responsible to Lok Sabha. Administration is responsible to the political executive. Transfers, suspensions, and through Rule 56J, administrators are controlled. You write it. You can what? Keep a check on administrative discretion. But sometimes what happens is, if it is a dynamic situation like COVID-19, you must allow the administrators to take decisions what is suitable for that situation. Contingency theory. Context matters. It is not just that administrator took a discretion which was not envisioned to delegated legislation. In what context they have taken it, that also matters. So during COVID-19, most of the officers, some IAS officers went to a wedding and they stopped the wedding, arrested the people who were conducting it. Another IPS officer made the, people who are walking on the road during lockdown, he made them do sit-ups. All these are what? Exigencies these are. You're not supposed to be doing it. Grabbing somebody by the collar or slapping them, you are not supposed to do it. But situation demands it. You need to put that fear in the hearts of the people, not to step outside. Otherwise, they will not listen. Got the point here? Leadership is not only about taking credit for success, but also owning up and being accountable for failures. Elucidate. Again, almost like an ethics paper. Almost like an ethics paper. So what type of leaderships are we talking about here? So a leadership under traditional public administration. So this is a very open statement. Now how will you write it? So this is where some people will come and say, sir, you never taught us this in detail. There's nothing to teach here. We are talking about leadership during traditional public administration era. It is all about following orders. If it is a successful order, the result will be successful. If it is an order itself was a failure, the result also will be a failure. So the blame goes to whom? Ultimately, under traditional public administration, the blame will lie only with the superior, whoever issued the order. Under human relations era, yes, there is a positive engagement between whom? The leaders and the followers. No doubt about it. there is a positive engagement. And therefore, here what do you have is, here it is more about acceptance, right? Acceptance of authority. Getting the point here? So in such a scenario, fixing responsibility becomes very, very difficult. Because to put it in Hindi, sab mile hue hain. Everybody is involved in it. You come further, you're talking about NPM, you can fix it always on the private player. Credit or failure, whatever you're talking about, you can fix it on the private player. But in NPS era, you have multiple players involved to deliver goods and services, and that again, you can fix responsibility, also fix the credit. Both are possible. So in different era, the meaning of leadership has evolved. Because again, it's a common question. Sorry, elucidate question. So okay, elucidate means only explain. So yeah, explained it. Each era, how things have evolved. How taking credit for success or responsibility of failure has evolved. Done. Bureaucracy constitutes the imaginary state and is the spiritualism of the state. Explain. How bureaucracy is very, very important. Imaginary state means involvement of bureaucracy. Central level, state level, local level. Central level bureaucracy is domination. Prime Minister's office. They assess the Prime Minister in all the important decision making. State level, obviously the entire state bureaucracy itself, which helps or supports the government. Local level, domination by the district collector, especially in panchayats and municipalities. So yeah, imaginary state, spiritualism of the state. The type of bureaucrats that are present at all these three levels will finally determine the outcome also. Write it. Throw in a little bit of Max Weber's bureaucratic model theory. Bureaucratic models features as you write the answer. Few points. And again highlight how it is important that bureaucracy can never be replaced. There is no replacement for bureaucracy. That is why it is always existing. Spiritually, it will always be there. Any organization that you're talking about, small organizations fine. Bureaucracy may not be there. But as an organization becomes larger and complex, it will start behaving like what? A bureaucracy. Clear, people? Answer the following questions in about 150 words each. E-advocacy model of e-governance can facilitate democratization of public policy making. Discuss. E-advocacy. Electronic advocacy means various advocate groups are there for farmers, for industries, etc. What are their policies? What are their ideas? And how that facilitates democratization of public policy making. What do the people want? Discuss. So that if you actually look into, good aspects are there. What are the good aspects? Say for example, why the government took back the 3 farm laws? Because farmers were protesting against it. So yeah, they take it into consideration. But on the other side, this e-advocacy again has also led to this culture of freebies and extensive subsidies for agriculture sector. E-advocacy, unfortunately, behaves like what? multitudinous monarch. This is a comment that was actually made by Woodrow Wilson that you will throw in there. Some aspects it is good. It will help the government in getting a feedback. It will help the government to know, okay, what does the industry want? What does the export sector want? Textile sector want? All that is good. It will help in policy making. Very recent current affair, if I were to say. So, for example, ethylene glycol, an ingredient that is used by the textile industry. Government removed the anti-dumping duty on it. Removed it. Because when they placed it, what had happened? It would have affected the textile industry adversely. It is a very important ingredient or rather chemical used in the textile industry. The government, because the textile industry said, please take it out because otherwise Indian textile sector export will get affected. Government removed it, which is a good thing. But at other times, what happens? Everybody from all sides will start demanding one or the other thing, and finally, what will happen? You won't be able to deliver. So suddenly now Ladakh has started telling they need 6th schedule. Nagas are telling now, no, Indians are separate, Nagas are different. Manipur is demanding now, Kuki-Zo community, they basically demanded, just make a union territory only for the Kuki-Zo community. Can we listen to all of that? Can we listen to every one of them? That is why multitudinous monarch. So indirectly we have added what? Woodrow Wilson here. Neoliberal policies have enhanced the scope and opportunities of taxation for the government. I don't know more than this. How many times they are going to ask about NPM again? This is again the same thing. Under NPM only this comes. That is liberalization, privatization and globalization has actually helped in more taxes. True or not? Definitely right. Because income tax collections started increasing. GST collections also have started going up. Before that it was VAT and today it is what? GST. And afterwards, we have entered into what? Completely digital transactions. The UPI transactions has made it literally possible to monitor almost all the major transactions today, as a result of which even vendors have also ended up coming under the GST bracket. So it has actually improved the tax collection, especially the services industry. But neoliberal policies have enhanced the scope and opportunities of taxation for the government. How are you going to put thinkers here? So definitely NPM. Market-based ideology. What is in demand, that will be supplied. So there was a demand for IT services, tourism, health, education. It's kept on growing. And with that later internet also came in. It started growing even more further. So NPM is basically about what relies on public choice theory. Public choice theory relies on what is the demand from the side of the public. You cater to that. So once again NPM. Here. Policy analysis process is limited if possible outcomes and alternate potential policies are neglected. Discuss. You are analyzing a policy. Okay. But if you are not factoring in what will be the outcome of this or what are the available alternative, then no point in doing that analysis. That is what it means. You don't know what is the future. I'm going to do something. You don't know what is going to be the future, nor do you have a plan B. Then there is no point in this analysis. Discuss it is. Yes, largely it is true. Because policy analysis means what? You should be having a backup. You should know what you are doing, why you are doing it. So for example, MG Narega. Initially, at least it was thought that what it is a wastage of resources. It is not leading to anything constructive. But later it was found that it actually helps in reducing the poverty in villages, improving the nutrition levels. And later on, what? Later on, improving the girl child's education. So how did we get to know this? We got to know this after 10 years only. Not initially. Initially, it looked as suppose farmers are becoming lazy because of Narega. But did we have an alternative that time? No. But later, when we started doing the policy analysis in depth, that is when we found out all these advantages are there for Narega. Those outcomes which we never factored in, because we were only looking into what, okay, farmers will get income, farmers will get job. But once we started knowing there are other additional benefits out of it, that is when we decided to maintain Narega for what it is. Got it? Is it possible to do this always? Not at all. Because sometimes what happens is certain policy decisions, you won't have an alternative. You won't even possibly know what are going to be the outcomes of it. Say, for example, there was no alternative to GST when we implemented it. So, 2016, demonetization, 2017, GST, and again, Article 370 abrogation, surgical strikes, Operation Sindoor. All these, when you see, it clearly seems what we went in with only one. We went ahead and did certain things. Probably we might have made a few. Okay, this might happen, that might happen. But were there any alternatives for this? No, not exactly. So all policy decisions, it is not necessary that we will know all the outcomes or all the alternatives. Why? Because sometimes you have to take satisficing decisions. You may not know all the answers. You may not have all the options available with you. You will have to take satisficing decisions based on the choice, based on the available choices. You have to become the administrative man, not the emotional, social man, nor the very logical economic man. Administrative man. For that situation, what will work? Theory is added. Answer is over. Values and ethics in civil services are shaped by global practices and trends. Explain. Explain question it is. So how civil services abroad has shaped civil services in India, or overall administration as such. So let us start with the basics. Certain universal principles like integrity, B, punctuality. These we are trying to follow world over. This trend is there. So that is also being followed in India. Why? Comparative public administration. C, digitalization. Why? To reduce government citizen interface. Again, for what purpose? To reduce corruption. Strict punishments. China. Anybody alleged, what is it, found to be guilty of corruption, depending upon the charges, they may either get life imprisonment or death. USA, summarily removed from the service. UK, same thing. Here, it is there now in the form of, like I've told you already, Rule 56J, it is there. compulsory retirement or removal from service. Punctuality, like I mentioned, your biometric system, biometric attendance. E, ease of doing business ranking. It's a clear indicator of how good or bad the bureaucracy is. That also you throw in. Answer is over. Because it's a explain question. Economic development alone is not a sufficient component for women development and empowerment. Discuss. Again, a question which is can be asked easily in society paper. That question they have asked here. Economic development alone is not a sufficient component for women development and empowerment. True, right? Because there are stigma associated with the gender. Women shouldn't do this, women should do that, etc., etc. But how do you answer it for a PubAd paper? So first thing is, yes, economic development is enough. That is the first part. Okay, financial freedom. The financial freedom means you should throw in some data with regard to access to land, access to loans from bank. So that if it is improving, automatically women's position also will improve. Because once they have that financial independence, automatically they will grow. That is the idea here. The finance is the first thing necessary. So you will put in what here? You will put in the motivational, any motivational thinker you will quote. Herzberg, Maslow, ERG theory, anybody. That you will quote. Clear? The other side is women development and empowerment. So what is essential for women development and empowerment other than this? That is where you will say, no, economics alone is not enough. Women development and empowerment is needed. That is right from a fetus to all the way to a grown woman. You need what? Rule of law being honored. A woman's choices are her choices, not something to be shaped by society or family. What point you will write there? What thinker will you quote there? Is a $1 million question here. So here you quoted motivational thinkers telling that yes, because only if that basic level thing is there, she will be able to grow. What about that from a fetus to a woman, empowering her, giving her the choice? What it requires is a structure. A structure is required within the society where women are respected. You need to simply create a universal set of principles for how to treat a woman. That's it. Scientific management theory or classical thinkers basically talks about what? You create a structure, right? For administration. You create the same structure for how to treat a woman. So the structure is created in the society where women are respected. Then you are not going to find any issue with empowering a woman. Best example, a tribal society. Southern states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Best example, tribal society. Southern states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Other examples. Getting the point here, people? So 5 questions technically we have answered. Ideally from section A, you need to answer 3. Minimum 2 questions from both the sections. Then 1 question extra from any one section. So already answered section. Already we have answered all the 5. Alright. So you can choose here which questions you are very, very comfortable with. If you want, you can. These questions again are all 10 markers. So you need not actually break your head. So the first question and 5th question are actually compulsory, which we have addressed already. Question 1 and question 5. 2, 3 and 4 I told you already how it was very direct. Let us see now 6, 7 and 8. FW Riggs Industrial Interdependent Economy is a precursor for some features of post-modern public administration analyze. Direct question again. Industrial model is a precursor to post-modern public administration. What do you mean by that? The industrial model, what he meant was, the industrial model is something which is very close to what? Very close to your diffracted model. Right. Diffracted model. Post-modern public administration, if you actually see, the trend is what? Decentralization. First time public administration was fully centralized. Then it became decentralized. But don't you think today we are post-modern? That is after modernization. Post means after. After modern. What is today? Today it is social media. Social media administration, or rather completely under digital control. Today the Prime Minister's office also can sit and find out which part of the country, which file is pending, where it is happening, what is happening. Click of a mouse, it is available to them. Diffracted model re-centralization. True, there are multiple agencies are there. ED is there for money laundering. CBIC is there for GST. CBDT is there for income tax. 3 different agencies you have. These are all what? Diffracted. Specialized agency for each and everything. Money laundering, GST, income tax. But at the same time, all the 3 are what? Monitored and controlled by Ministry of Finance. Correct? It's completely monitored and controlled. So in such a scenario, they are asking us to analyze. It's a precursor for some features of postmodern. That is true. Industrial interdependent economy. Everything is interdependent. True. And it is a precursor of some features of postmodern public administration. Precursor. That means before going for complete re-centralization, this precursor is necessary. First, you should create different bodies for different purpose. You cannot have a single body doing all the job. The different purposes you created. Now I should control it. Re-centralization. Analyzing it is. So you can basically say, yes, it is true. But at the same time, you also have an analyze question it is. So you will also throw in what? Even though there is CBIC, there is ED, there is CBDT, and you also have a Ministry of Finance. PMO still acts as what? That one body which is fused, which can easily interfere in any matter without any invitation. Silkyara tunnel rescue you talk about, or closing in very quickly with France, the Rafale deal you talk about, Prime Minister's office interferes, which actually reminds us of what? The agraria model. So totally what are we seeing today? Totally what we are seeing is, finally, you have the PMO which resembles the fused model. You have various bodies, separate diffracted models are there, like CBDT, CBIC, etc., which resemble what? Diffracted model. The control that is exercised on each of these agencies, that is nothing but re-centralization, which is a feature of what? Postmodern public administration. Done. The role and responsibility of the state in the development process has been overemphasized and given undue importance. Critically examine. Again, let me tell you, this is the same question. State taking the front seat and private player taking the back seat, vice versa. That is the point here. That means this is again actually part of our same topic, which is NPM. Or the point, dear people. So if you directly see so far, two thinkers, policy making, women, media. These are the major highlights. Yeah. Okay, this also I will throw it in. That is administrative law. Two questions basically. This was again, like I told you, this one question should have come under paper 2 actually. Conflict situation, aggressiveness, etc. That is something like I told you. Mary Parker, Foley, etc. Those points you can discuss. Domination, all that you can talk about. So let us say conflict in general I will keep. Not associated with any thinker. Conflict. Delegated legislation, again coming under administrative law. Leadership, again, conflict resolution only. Then one question on bureaucracy. Conflict resolution, you have two questions. Bureaucracy. FW rigs. Just let me tell you right here, this is the major crux. There are other thinkers also. What is surprisingly enough, bureaucracy related questions are very few this time. So far, whatever we have seen, at least till question number 6, whatever we have seen so far, it is less. So let us proceed further. Affirmative action for equal opportunity is a cornerstone in recruitment to public services. Discuss it in a global action. Affirmative action simply means what? Reservation. OBCs, EWS, SC, ST, women, all of that. For equal opportunity it is. So that everybody gets an equal share. It is to ensure social as well as economic justice. That is the main purpose of this, a value which is enshrined in our constitution already. So what are we trying to do there? Providing the basic necessity. Motivational thinkers, again, you will mention. But what about in a global context? Globally, do we have this reservation policy? Absolutely not. Most of the democratic countries don't have this reservation. You have to prove your mettle there. You can aim for scholarships, but not for reservation. Everywhere else, it is merit. So in India, these decisions are being taken on the basis of a certain level of emotion. Western countries, it is all about economic man. Once again, what are we hinting at? We are hinting at, Simon, we are hinting at the motivational thinkers. That is the answer to this. The objective of liberalization, privatization, globalization, and new public management was to limit government functions and reduce public expenditure. However, both functions and expenditure has increased. Account for the paradox. I know, even I am unable to believe it. How many times will they ask the same topic again and again? That is why I told you, topic wise, when you start preparing this subject, you will feel there is nothing in it. I am not telling it. You look at the question paper. And this is not the case just this year. This is the case every year. When you finally see there are only a few themes there are only a few thinkers here. It is just that you should be so thorough with the thinkers and the theory that the moment you see the question, you should be able to recall it. 7b. The basis of comparative study of public administration has evolved from institutional approach to the contemporary political economic process. Have all these approaches enabled the development of a theory of comparative public administration? Justify your answer. The comparative public administration. Finally, a proper question on it. But again, a sitter, I would say. Because comparative public administration is what? There are three trends to it. Then you have FW Riggs. That's it. FW Riggs, again, this is repeated again. He is the mega contributor of comparative public administration. So what is it? Institutional approach to contemporary political economic process approach. Institutional approach means institution wise. You will study the institutions in different places. How is the bureaucracy working in USA? How is the bureaucracy working in Europe, etc. That is how initially we try to do it. Initially it is all about universal principles. But post 1950 we understood what that is never going to work out. So that is when we started looking into what the whole context there. What type of politics do they have? What type of economic system do they have? And that is where we are standing today. We are blindly not following any system that is being followed by any other democratic country. We are basically checking whether it will work here or not. So in that sense, yes, developing a theory for comparative public administration has not been possible. But that is the beauty of comparative public administration again. Unlike traditional public administration which focused on theory building, comparative public administration looks into only what the practical aspect. It is not about theory building. It is about finding out what will work in that situation. That's it. I've given materials as well as content for this. The three trends, everything is given. Just sitter question. Can competency mapping linked to career development incentivize civil servants' commitment to effective service delivery? Elaborate. That means basically Taylor's differential piece wage plan. That is the one who is contributing more, you reward them. One who is not contributing enough, you punish them. Not the career-based service what Weber has said. And this is the future. This is where we are headed to. Because like I told you already, the Rule 56J, etc., as well as Mission Karma Yogi, you throw in all of that here. Mission Karma Yogi, Rule 56J, all that you throw in over here. Elaborate question, which clearly does what? Incentivizing. Plus competency mapping. Now here again, many people will only write it in terms of what? Okay, civil servant, civil servant. What again you should remember is how the MOU culture has changed what? Has changed the functioning of PSU. Mention that also. Because you are already giving them clear set targets to achieve. The targets when they were given, it started working well. When PSU's profit has been climbing year on year. That's the answer to that. Is it difficult? This is what it is. 8A, the effectiveness of civil society in development process is only when state institutions are receptive to inputs from the civil society organizations. This is something from current affairs again. Like I told you, this is something which you will prepare for your society paper. So how does civil society organization, should they be receptive to this or not? To some yes, to some no. For example again, Association of Democratic Reforms. They were responsible for filing a petition with regard to the electoral bond scheme in Supreme Court, which finally led to Supreme Court striking it down. The same ADR unfortunately also challenged what? VVPAT. They basically demanded 100% verification of VVPAT, which the Supreme Court said no. Because whatever sample size of VVPAT has been taken, 4.5 crore apparently, They cross-checked it and verified it and said there is not even one discrepancy. Then why are you demanding for VVPAT 100%? The civil society's problem is they are too parochial. They don't see the larger picture. They only think about what they need for their existence, what they need. They are not thinking about how it is going to affect the country as a whole or the system as a whole. That you mentioned. The motivational theory you can use over here. You can also talk about what NPS here, participative management here, system 4 here, metrics organization. All of that you can bring it over here. Evaluate the role and scope of tacit knowledge and personal experience as an important source of knowledge in policy making process. Tacit as in something which is already known. The other one is personal experience. Role and scope. Implicit knowledge. Implicit knowledge could come from theory or handed over traditionally. Traditional handover. What grandfather said, father said. So that way, that is one way how that will come. What about personal experience? That is more like rule of thumb. Worked for me, not necessarily that it will work for you. Important source of knowledge in policy making process. It is important because one is about experience. The other is about what? Hearsay, which has been emphasized by, importance have been emphasized by Elton Mayo. Hearsay. Personal experience, yes. If it is good means great. But otherwise it can also behave like what? Like a rule of thumb. No sense only. So it needs to be balanced out. Very, very important. Otherwise, if that balance is not there, you are going to lose it. Highlight a few examples for the same. Then it will work. Got the point here. For this example, again, what I have delivered in classes, say the Prime Minister's office, before appointing any IAS officer to PMO, PMO actually makes a call and inquires with the colleagues, the batchmates of that concerned IAS officer before actually making an appointment, before appointing them to the PMO. They are handpicked today by the Prime Minister's office. So there this hearsay becomes important. The policy today is that, today's latest policy is that non-IAS officers are also getting recruited to what? Are taking up top positions in the administration under various ministries as well as within the PMO. What about experience? That is rule of thumb. Again, experience of an IAS officer definitely matters in policy making decisions. So that is the reason why if you look at the ministries, etc., whatever we are having today IAS of ex-servicemen, that is ex-bureaucrats handling top ministries, ex-IPS officer working as the NSA. So it does matter. But on the other side, ultimately what it is, policy making is not something that is only dependent on experience or hearsay alone. Role and scope. They have asked you to evaluate. These are not the only two factors. You have to look into what? You have to look into context, the political reality. Political reality. Political reality means what? For example, subsidy plus freebies. Everybody knows these two policies are ultimately what? Economically very bad. But still, why are we doing it? That is a demand from the side of the people. End of the story. Clear? The efficacy of management aid tools depends on the purpose and appropriateness of tools and techniques. Explain with examples. Tools which will aid the management. Appropriateness of tools and the techniques. Management aid tools. PERT, CPM, MIS. Given it notes only, I have given it to you. Where what is used, what is the usage of it, all I have explained it in my notes itself. Direct question. You can throw in that over there. That's it. Clear, people? With that, it is over. There you go. MIS, critical path method, all asked in our test series itself. That is one beauty about this topic. If you, from this, that particular chapter, this at management tools chapter, this one question is guaranteed. One or the other way it is going to come. So that's it. And in this, you don't have to write all the 8 also. You only have to write 5. See, the challenge, like I am always told in my classes, to remember that it is a PubAd paper and constantly put examples from paper 2 and constantly keep putting in what? Theory. Theory example connect should be there to establish the demand of the question. That way, when you write, marks will flow. That is the only challenge here. Otherwise, nothing else is there. The syllabus, like I've always kept on telling you, it's a very limited syllabus. Clear? Coming to paper 2. Now, when you look at the analysis part here, more or less the same scenario what we have seen with regard to paper 1 again. 2 questions, 1 question, 2 question, 3 questions from state government and administration. Four questions from civil services, not at all surprising considering the fact that this is the most important topic. From paper 2, if you actually see civil services, rural administration, district administration, then state government and administration, union government and administration, all this, whichever is connected with civil services, you can expect questions from that. Financial management, administrative reform since independence, rural development, urban local government, law and order, significant issues in Indian administration. So these are the things. Earlier, last year, you did not have anything from district administration. The year before that, you did not have any questions from administrative reforms. Again, civil services, evolution of Indian administration. So no trend as such you can say where you can say that, okay, you can avoid this chapter. This is not so important. So better clarity we will get when you look at the chapters here. Questions here. Answer the following in about 150 words each. Arthashastra of Kautilya means the science of economics of livelihood of the people. Comment. So Arthashastra doesn't mean the science of economics. That is the first thing, of the livelihood of people. To an extent you can say yes. Why? You can talk about all the economic aspects there. How treasury is the most important part. How was the society divided in terms of collection of revenue, etc. How did they ensure proper economy through proper law and order? Till there you can say. But then it is a common question. So you will say on the other side what? But the predominant consideration in Arthashastra was not actually economics. It was yoga kshema, welfare of the people. What are the features again in Arthashastra which ensured welfare of the people? Getting the point here. And the happiness of the people lies the happiness of the king. You write those points. It's just 10 marks. That's it. Trace the reasons for limited effectiveness of the Niti Aayog. A direct question which I have very clearly given in my class notes. Very clearly I have given this. All you have to do is take it down from there. So this is basically, see, some of the students keep asking me, sir, please can you give an update on all the current affairs connected to public administration? I'll tell you what is the problem with it. It is a never-ending process. To be very honest, it's a never-ending process. And students' expectation is that, okay, we have paid the course fees. So let the faculty provide it. I'm not telling about just me, I'm telling about any faculty. Every faculty's job is to teach the syllabus. It is actually the job of the students to ensure that they are updating it with the latest relevant current affairs. So what I have told you multiple times is again the same thing what I will tell you here also. Take out Google. Type the content. Let us say Prime Minister's office. All is there. News is there. Click on news. Under the advanced search section, give the time limit 1 year. Whatever is there associated with Prime Minister's office, all the news will pop up. Just read them, pick out the important data or important points which is relevant, which is non-political. Your job is done. Clear? Highlight the constitutional provisions and judicial interventions to promote gender equality in India. Once again, a question which should be asked in GS paper 1 under society. I was never joking when I told you if you do public administration, your GS1, your GS2, to an extent GS3, some rare cases GS4, to that level the preparation will happen here. The constitutional provisions, that is something which you would have already studied in your polity. Judicial interventions, Vishaka guidelines, gender equality. Put it up. Got the point here. Now the challenge again obviously will be, when you talk about limited effectiveness of the Niti Aayog, what theories are you going to bring in here? Because I cannot simply write the limited effectiveness of Niti Aayog and tell that, okay, this is it. Because the challenge here is obviously to link it with paper 1. So, you must basically say, theory Y. Niti Aayog, the intention was to make it like a organization which abides by the tenets of theory Y. But what is the reality today? There is not much of collaboration that is happening between the state government as well as Niti Aayog. Because states tend to view it as a dominating body, or states are skeptical of accepting the suggestions of Niti Aayog, which is not falling within their zone of acceptance. So what is the need of the hour? The need of the hour is integration. So 3 theories I have brought it inside, so that it will look like a paper 2 public administration answer, not a GS2 answer. The same thing goes here. Constitutional provisions means what? It is basically structure. We have a structure. Judicial interventions means what? Judiciary is being more proactive, being more active. This is a maturity theory. There you go. One line is enough. It is not that you have to elaborate the whole thinker, the whole theory. It is just that you have to blend in paper 1 theory into paper 2. Let's see a few more questions to understand this better. 1D, in contemporary times, the district collector should prioritize teamwork over hierarchical structures. Comment. First point, yes, teamwork is essential, especially when you have what? Dynamic situations. In contemporary times, the district collector should prioritize teamwork over hierarchical structures. Comment. Very, very simple question again. The verb is teamwork essential. Teamwork is especially essential when dynamic situations comes. Correct? Disaster management, COVID-19. Teamwork is essential. Like how district collectors in Kerala coordinated and cooperated with fishermen community there. Teamwork. But as far as routine matters are concerned, you need hierarchical structures where program decision making is necessary. 10 marker. Theory I added, example I gave, end of the story. Moving on. Examine the significance of field organizations in enhancing policy implementation of projects like Narega and Swachh Bharat Mission. Significance of field organizations. Now, significance means what? Field organization. When field organization, suddenly these questions come, students will be like, oh my God, what is the field organization? Narega is implemented at the village level, right? So what is the field organization there? Who is responsible there? Panchayats. They are supposed to ensure that who are the people who have enrolled for Narega. Swachh Bharat, again the same thing. Excuse me. There is a rural division. There is an urban division to it. So rural area it is Panchayat, urban area it is municipality. So the next question comes, significance. They are very significant. No doubt about it. But what is the problem here? Panchayats are understaffed. Sometimes they lack the right funds. Sometimes the elections are not held on time, as a result of which the implementation of these schemes suffers. Even politically also you can mention a reason, like if it is 2 different parties, one at the center and one at the state, there will be always a sense of conflict. But 10 marker, ensure that you put the relevant points within the given space. 50 marks in your pocket. Like I told you multiple times, theory you do well. These questions anybody can tackle. Let's see now. Second question. The colonial legacy is responsible for many administrative problems in independent India as the role of company agents and traders evolved into magistrates, governors, and civil servants. So, what part of colonial legacy are we able to witness, especially in magistrates, governors, and civil servants? Magistrates, in one way, we can say there is a lack of transparency, and especially when it comes to our judiciary, in case of appointments, transfers, and what the type of judgments that they give, on what basis it is given, we don't know. That issue is still there. When it comes to governors, also governors sometimes try to act with a high-handedness where they try to overpower or overtake administratively the chief minister, the elected chief minister, as well as the council of ministers, and tend to act like an agent of the center. Civil servants also try to show this high-handedness by not actually interacting with the public. You can give the example of that collector who actually addressed truck drivers with the word Okad. Got the point? So this much you write. Then you write the other side. That is, the other side is what? Today it is NPS, New Public Service. There is judiciary that is taking up cases suo motu. That is directing. Give any example of good judicial activism from the recent examples. Then governors being proactive. When the governor of Kerala found that there are vice chancellors who have been appointed to the university who don't fit the qualification, he openly blurted it out. He openly told it out that they are not eligible to sit as vice chancellors. Civil servants, same thing. During disaster management, during an epidemic, you need them. Now, what about the theory here? Well, the first part, when you write it as what? Classical theory. Top-down approach. Exploitative authority. The last part, when you write, it is about metrics organization, participative management. End of the story. Despite the division of subjects, union government contributes towards subjects in the state and concurrent lists. Discuss its pros and cons in the light of fiscal federalism. This is something where you need little bit of knowledge on finance commission's recommendations also. Contributes towards subjects in the state and concurrent list. That is, union government definitely contributes towards what and all? Definitely towards health, definitely towards education. Correct? These two things, even roads, housing, for all these, they do it. What are the pros and cons? Pros, obviously, wider outreach, more fund is available, it will reach more people. It is part of the social welfare policy, or what we call as positive discrimination. All those points you can write. That is a classic case of state being more understanding. State in the sense, both center and state being more understanding and then working towards the benefit of the people. But what are the cons of it? Well, the cons are, number one, center and state schemes overlapping. Center and state fighting for credit. Getting the point? Because growth needs, because both want to win the election. Number three, a lack of clarity for the ordinary public. That is, center will say we have released the fund, state will say we did never receive the fund. Whom should we believe then? Got the point here? So there is a lot of tutu meme. Number four, blame game. Blame game in the sense, states blaming that southern states are being neglected. Northern states are being, Hindi belt is being benefited. I mean, you can use it with an inverted comma. There is nothing wrong with it. Whatever, if anything controversial you are planning to put also, you can put it as alleged, as it has been reported in media. Put it within double inverted comma and write it down. Clear? So what is the need of the hour? Need of the hour is integration. Center and states should actually have integration. But for integration to occur better, the first and foremost thing essential is what? Information. How many beneficiaries are really there? All these things should be there. Beneficiaries are really there. Aadhaar linking with land. Correctly, we know the administrative jurisdiction of each area, each constituency. Only then we can take this step forward. Only then this fiscal federalism will work out. Divergent political interests and financial constraints hinder the spirit of cooperative federalism. Comment. Again, now this is a very, what I would call a trick question. Trick question being that the content here, fiscal federalism, and here it is cooperative federalism. More or less it is going to remain the same. So it is pretty challenging to write a different set of content for this particular question. Divergent political interest and financial constraints hinder the spirit of cooperative federalism. So how does that work out? Political interest, different political parties are there in our country. So when that is existing, you will have a lot of issues as witnessed in the state of Kerala, state of Tamil Nadu, Delhi. You can give those examples. Tamil Nadu, these are the 4 places where cooperative federalism. You can mention examples of how Tamil Nadu wants to exit from NEET, how Kerala wants to remove and West Bengal wants to remove governor from the post of chancellor. How in Delhi, a lot of issues used to happen between with regard to every bill that the elected legislative assembly wanted to pass. It always led to an impasse because of the conflicts between the lieutenant governor and the chief minister. Financial constraints. Financial constraints, why? Again, most states are not taking enough efforts to raise their own revenue. So they keep blaming the state for it. They keep blaming the state for, center for implementing GST, which has reduced their tax base. Especially southern states take the lead here, blaming the center for not transferring the funds enough. So all this has led to what? A sort of a very negative or a situation of conflict between center and a few states. How do you resolve it now? Resolution again should happen, like I told you, transparency first. Transparency has to come from where? From the grassroots level onwards, especially from panchayat and municipality onwards, because panchayat and municipalities are not audited by CAG. Streamlining the process of fund transfer, what that fund has been utilized for has to be streamlined, that even a common man will understand what went wrong where. Political interest should not be given, should not get the upper hand over public welfare or public interest. Write it. Answer is complete. Throw in the thinkers there. Got the point. While the Constitution offers a strong framework for decentralized and accountable governance, the real test lies in how institutions, civil society, and citizens uphold constitutional values in practice. Examine. So once again, how institutions means any institution it can be. Election Commission of India it can be, Supreme Court it can be, UPSC it can be, any institutions, how they take it up. Framework for decentralized and accountable governance. That is the key word here. So even though there is a provision in the Constitution that tells that panchayat and municipalities have to be set up, elections has to be conducted every 5 years. State Election Commission should be set up. State Finance Commission should be set up. Yeah, these 2 things are there. This is not adhered to by everybody. Central Finance Commission had to threaten most of the states by telling that if by March 2024, you don't set up a State Finance Commission, we will not give you fund. Except for health and education grants, we won't give you any other grants meant for local bodies. It is only after that threatening or domination was done by CFC that the state government started following it. So if you actually look at it, decentralized and accountable governance is a myth. What about civil society? Civil society, yes, at times they have helped in bringing good reforms. Say, for example, Association of Democratic Reforms was instrumental in actually nullifying or making the electoral bond scheme void. However, Association of Democratic Reforms have also been found at loggerheads with the judiciary to prove where they had questioned the merit or the metal of EVM machines, electoral voting machines. They have questioned it, like VVPAT, 100% VVPAT, etc. is needed. The civil society organizations at times are also filing frivolous cases in the court. Citizens upholding it. Are all the citizens upholding it? Absolutely not. Because unfortunately in India, even today, patriarchal or traditional authority system is still being followed. So sometimes constitution takes a back seat and the traditional patriarchal system takes the upper hand. Whatever social evils are there in the country, mention that. Answer over. The challenge is not about writing the answers to this. The challenge is only the fact that are you able to put a thinker there? And you have to ensure that you don't repeat your thinkers in every answer. Liberalization of Indian economy has forced public enterprises to enhance their efficiency, but the effects of these reforms have been a topic of debate. Why it is a topic of debate? Well, 1. Loss of employment. 2. It has actually led to a shutdown of lot of PSUs. Number 3. R&D has not really picked up at the PSU level. Investments are also investments also not up to the mark. Give data for this. On the other side, the positive side, what it is, loss-making PSUs have been shut down. Profit of the PSUs over the last 4-5 years has increased continuously. Dividends have gone up. CSR activities have gone up. So nowadays it is very clear. You perform or you perish culture have been brought into PSUs. Once which was thought to be, untouchable. Nobody should touch a PSU. Nobody should shut down a PSU. This is what our thought process was before LPG. Now it is no more the case. The tenets of NPM, efficiency, economy, and effectiveness, have literally got merged with PSU. If you cannot perform, if you are not efficient, if you are not economic, you're not at all effective, shutting down is the only option in front. And the clarity that we have today through MOUs. PSUs know what their targets are, how much profit they are supposed to bring, what type of investments they are supposed to make. All these are already decided beforehand 1 year back itself. So that at the end of the year, easily measurable performances are there. Management by objective, Peter Drucker. End of the answer. Center-state administrative relations are a matter of debate as constitutional provisions created a strong center. Discuss. Again, very direct question. So wherever center is strong, what are the major points where center is strong? Well, emergency, president's rule, correct. More subjects. Center can pass a law on a state subject under extraordinary situations when Rajya Sabha passes a resolution to give effect to an international agreement when emergency is declared, national or state. So all this you can discuss. But at the same time, it is not that center can simply do whatever they want. SR Bommai case. Majority has to be proved in the floor of the house before dismissing any elected government. Anti-defection rules are there to ensure that center cannot get away with center government or any party for that matter, be it at state level also, with horse trading, buying of MLA, buying of MP. You cannot do that anymore. It is not easy. So there are provisions in the constitution that has ensured that even while we have kept center a little stronger, it is just for what purpose? To ensure uniform administration in the country, to ensure unity in the country. Civil servants, IAS, IPS, etc., we need for that uniformity. So while respecting the individual context of each state, they have also respected what? To bring in a sense of uniformity in administration throughout the country, in terms of the departments, the wings, the branches, all of that. Clear, people? Moving on. Experience of various states suggests that reorganization of districts was prompted more by politico-populist convenience rather than ease of administration. Now let me tell you, reorganization of districts. This is that one question where, once in a blue moon, you will get a question in your paper 2 or even maybe in your paper 1, which is best avoided because there is not much content for this that can be generated. This is like maybe in one book or one or two newspaper which should have come very rarely, because districts reorganization it is, not even state. Districts reorganization. That means you should know which and all districts were reorganized in which and all states. How are you going to write it? And again, look at the context. Experience of various states more by politico-populist convenience rather than ease of administration. So you should know specific examples. Got the point here? That is the main demand of the question here. Specific examples from each state, and then write whether it was populist based or whether it was administrative convenience based. That you should put up over there. Best avoid it. The matter what students will do is they will actually break their head over this one question. And then they will think, oh my God, this was not taught. Public administration is one such subject where it is a very vast syllabus. Anything can be picked up from anywhere. Don't break your head over what is asked very rarely. Break your head over what is asked frequently. So this lack of clear demarcation of roles between state secretariat and the directorate has serious implications for policy making and policy implementation. Do you agree? Again, demarcation of rules between state secretariat and directorate. State secretariat, I would have given you the notes. Directorate also, I would have given you the notes. Directorate comes under this. Directorate has a specific purpose. There are a particular body interested with a specific function. I would have linked it with diffraction to you. State secretariat also, I would have told it's a policy making body. They have a wing again, which ensures that whether the implementation is happening, and they take the review. This is all that is there to it. But here they are once again asking what state specific example. Is it practical for a student to sit and actually study the conflicts or the issues between different state directorates in the country? Because I'll tell you another thing. With as far as state assemblies are concerned, state assemblies are there, right? State assemblies, number of sittings, number of bills, the attendance, all these data, it's not available. It is not at all available. Why? Because states don't update it. So to find out the content for this itself is not going to be very easy. You will have to literally break your head for this. Got the point? This is like state government and administration. Normally what we will expect is with regard to, okay, maybe governor, they will ask the conflict issues they may ask. They did not ask any of that. They literally gone in depth. The conflict that is there between state secretariat and directorate. It will impact policy making and policy implementation. What content will you write for that? Central secretariat and directorate means still we can do something about it. Here what will we write? And from where are you going to prepare the content from? That is $1 million question again. Maybe from 1 or 2 newspaper articles, that random article which came in one random paper, that could be there. But how many of us would have read it? Got the point here. So this again, like I told you, just like the last question, skip it. Decentralized planning in India signifies a shift towards context-sensitive development, but inadequate resources and local politics complicate the realization of social justice goals. Almost the same question what we saw earlier under 3. So this is the only question in this entire section which you will find familiar. Most of the students what I interacted with, they said, sir, this question only this was familiar, the other two no clue at all. I said, it's okay. That is fine. So I have skipped it. 5th question. Low cyber awareness among officials is causing cyber security issues in the administration. Comment. Like I told you, GS paper 3 related questions also will come. The cyber security you will be definitely studying where? In internal security. Low cyber awareness among officials is causing issues. Definitely yes. It is there. Cyber crime is increasing by the year. We have studied it under internal security. You should be already having the data with you. The increase in cyber awareness, the lack of trained officials, and the fact that number of hackers, etc. Crimes are increasing. Earlier, you had to be a hacker. You needed to know computer software, etc. to do, whatever it is, morphing, hacking, whatever. Today, that is not required. Today, with a very simple software that is easily available from a Play Store or an Apple Store, you can do whatever you want. Generating fake videos, fake images, it has become like, a walk in the park. So that you will put it up over here with the data. And this is again a classic case of what? Context. This is the latest demand. This is the latest set of crime. That means we literally need a cyber wing exclusively with every police station. It is necessary. A cyber wing should be there to deal with cyber crimes. That is the demand. Guillotine hastens the budgetary process to meet the timeline. Evaluate the procedure. From budget, with less discussion, you are fastening it. The challenge here will be, don't just write the data. I have given you the data for state legislative assembly also, parliament also. Write both there. This is the other mistake that students will make. Guillotine, budget they see, they will only think about central budgeting. They will never think about state budgets. Central at least, okay, 14, 15, 16, whatever, 20 days or something, they are sitting there. Budget session, some discussion is happening. Even winter session, monsoon session, some discussion is there. Chalo. State Legislative Assembly, in one day, 14 bills are getting passed. In 15 minutes or 10 minutes, 5, 6 bills are getting passed. That data you give there. Also mention why guillotine can be used at times because of the paucity of time. If a bill has been sufficiently discussed, already it has been taken to the committees, then there is nothing wrong in using guillotine clause. That's it. So end the matter, take a decision. That is what it is. Founded rationality. New localism plays a crucial role in empowering the local actors expand. Again, direct question from my notes again. So, again, Panchayati Raj, municipalities, all of that. Gram Sabha aims to enlist community participation. Explain the Forest Rights Act, how Gram Sabha ensures that, Gram Sabha's permission, why it is so vital, latest rulings, whatever is there, which tries to empower the Gram Sabha. So you can talk even about the Great Nicobar project. You can even talk about the Niyamgiri Hills issue, the Vedanta mining issue, all of that. Identify the implementation challenges and issue of the government e-marketplace, GEM. Detailed notes I have given in the class already. So these are all strictly from my notes. Centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system does not effectively address local level issues. Give your opinion. So this is again central public grievance redressal. Again, it is to basically, if you have a issue against a central government servant, you can air it up over here. But grassroots level corruption, when you talk about, it is pretty much existing because of the fact that you cannot, you have to file a complaint. Let us say you have to go to Central Vigilance Commission. You will have to give your name, every detail there, which many people don't feel like doing it because they are scared that their name will get leaked out. On top of it, arrested officers also, they are not removed from the service. They are only suspended. What is the thing? They are later reinstated back into the service. So those are the major points there that you will write. Do you think Aadhaar initiative has promoted inclusive governance and administrative credibility? Throw light. Definitely. It has promoted inclusiveness. It has promoted inclusion. The zone of acceptance has increased. Zone of indifference has also increased, which if it is falling within the zone of indifference, that is why Aadhaar acceptance has gone up. The very same country at one point of time which was against Aadhaar, today they are for Aadhaar actually. The financial inclusion, UPI payments, all these are possible today because of Aadhaar. Counter side, even refugees are having Aadhaar. Illegally entered immigrants, they are having Aadhaar. So what has happened with Aadhaar is because Aadhaar is not considered to be a proof of identity, even infiltrators inside the country is having it. Then the same thing, internet issues, fake Aadhaar, all that you can put it up. Smart policing and community policing programs have been initiated to address socio-technological challenges in law and order. Using technology, people's participation, both you can mention. So Janmai 3, police station. I mentioned it in the class, that you can take it up. Where community is also involved. Student police, that you can put up. Then socio-technological challenges. Socio-technological challenges means what? Obviously, social challenges are basically associated with drug trafficking. Technological challenges, what we have already seen. Cyber crimes, deepfake, AI videos, morphed photos, etc. So both of this are there. But what is the other counter side to it? Police still lacks a trust. There is a trust deficit because of the exploitative authority of the police, domination authority. People have hesitation in trusting the police. Corruption levels, crime levels, all that you can mention. Many elected women representatives in local governments in India, especially from marginalized backgrounds, often struggle to govern effectively. Examine Sarpanch Pati. Women presence in municipalities as well as in panchayats, that entire thing. As you can clearly see in the first itself, they had asked about gender equality. Again, they are asking the same, almost the same question, but in the context of local bodies. Straight away from my notes again. Then, budget is the pivot around which the whole financial administration revolves. Discuss the socio-economic and political implications of budget. Direct question again. Very, very direct question. Socio-economic, political implication. The political implication these days is what? It has all come down to freebies these days. We will tell what is the problem with it. Now, this is because of what? This is because public opinion being a multitudinous monarch. We will bring Woodrow Wilson here. Assess the role of government process re-engineering in promoting good governance. Re-engineering the government process from what it used to be earlier. So making things digital, asking people's review. Something as simple as when you book a railway ticket today, they are asking you, how was your experience? When was the last time you remember government did something and government is asking you, how was your experience? Did you like it? That itself is what process re-engineering it is. I know directly I have not given notes on it, but these are all actually part of digital governance it is. Or new public service, new public governance, social media governance, directly Twitter handle. You tweet to the commissioner, you're traveling in an auto and somebody is chasing you. You tweet to the commissioner of police immediately. Going by this road, I'm being chased. You put a video of the scooter that is chasing you. Probably within the next junction or the junction after that. Then 15 minutes of posting it. Police will round you up. Grab the culprit. It's process re-engineering, which is promoting good governance. What is the other side to it? Not everybody are tech savvy. Internet connectivity is still low. Electricity connectivity, it is still we are yet to achieve 100% electricity. So whatever we are talking about, zero FIR, filing an FIR, online, etc. All these are possible only if people are digitally literate. That also you should mention. Metropolitan cities are providing major portions of national wealth, but their governance is fraught with intricate institutional relationships. Explain. Very, very, very direct question. What is the problem with metropolitan cities? Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Cochin, Bangalore, Chennai, all these cities you can take as your examples. What is the problem there? Yeah, 90% of their revenue comes from what? Grants. Mumbai, etc. are there, which generates good revenue, but that revenue actually doesn't go to the city. It goes to the state coffers, because whatever they want to use also, even if the cities want to use it, they need the permission of the commissioner there, commissioner of these municipalities, who happens to be an IAS officer, who will only listen to the state government, because the municipalities practically have no control over the commissioners of metropolitan corporations. That's it. Talk about all the municipality related problems what I've already given you. Same thing. Training and capacity building represent different scope and objectives. Explain the key differences. Training means what you give, obviously, before joining, largely. Capacity building means what? Capacity building means you are improving their skills on job. Capacity is being built. Either they are provided with better resources, they are provided with proper technological advancements, new programs, etc. So that is the two. Both needs to be ensured what? And going together, hand in glove. That is why you have something like Mission Karma Yogi, mid-career training, along with capacity building. Finding out what new skills needs to be given to them on job. Artificial intelligence has emerged as an innovative tool in disaster management. Illustrate with examples. Straight away from current affairs. AI, identifying the victims, identifying the culprits, because disaster management it can be man-made disaster, natural disaster. So identifying the culprits of a crime, all that. You can give examples for it. Not the point here. Then how it is latest and all that. But goes without saying, except that fourth question, the remaining 7 questions was actually a walk in the park. Who could have chosen it wisely, anybody could have done paper 2 very, very, very well. So I hope people have done it well. So with that, we come to an end of our paper 2 discussion also. Let me know if you have any suggestions in the comment section. All right, people. So this is like a small announcement. We have the Srijan Prelims Plus Mains Test Series for 2026, where we have it in the offline mode, hybrid English as well as Hindi mode. The key features of it are 3-phased guided preparation model, Prelims Plus Mains Test with expert evaluation, Prelims and Mains e-books for complete coverage, personalized mentorship for every student. And yes, from this Srijan Test Series alone, we have had 192 selections in UPSC CSE 2024. Offline, the fees is 13,999. Online, the fees is 9,999. All right, people. With that, we come to an end of our discussion. Once again, please let me know what is there, what that you have in your mind